Welcome students. In the last lecture we discussed about functions and today we will discuss about sequences, which are special kind of functions used to order the objects. And sequences are functions from set of natural numbers to the set of objects to be ordered. Therefore, in this lecture we will discuss about sequences and we will discuss about constructing sequence data type and declaring sequence variables. And in the end of this lecture, we will discuss about operators which are used for sequence type variables. Students, we have been discussing about sets since the start of this course, and you know sets are collection of similar kind of objects, and you already know that sets cannot handle multiplicity of objects, as well as sets are unable to handle the orders of objects contained in a set. Therefore, sets are unordered collection, and it is not meaningful to speak of the first or last element in a set, or whether one element follows another. And when we write a set, we have to write down the elements in some order, but the ordering we choose is not significant. And in order to handle the ordering of objects, we need to use sequences. Therefore, sequences can model arrays, lists, queues, and other sequential structures. And sequences in Z language are notated inside angle brackets. While designing many softwares, we need to maintain the order of objects. For example, in any e-commerce system, an order arrive first will be dispatched first, or in a online healthcare system, a patient interact the system first will be served first. So it is sometimes necessary to record the order in which objects are arranged, and some examples are data may be indexed by an ordered collection of keys, messages may be stored in order of arrival, tasks may be performed in order of importance. Therefore, we need to introduce a notion of sequences which actually used to model the ordered collection of objects. The concept of sequence is similar to the concept of an array in programming languages, and sequence is represented by the angle bracket. For example, these two angle brackets with no element in that represents the empty sequence. If there are elements or objects in a sequence, then those elements are listed in angle brackets. For example, the sequence containing three elements is represented by as given in the slide, and the order of the element A in sequence is the first order, and the index or position of element B is second in a sequence, and the position or index of element C is third in a sequence. Let us suppose a set A as a type, and we want to make sequences from the elements or values of set A. Then a sequence of values of type A is a partial function from natural numbers n to set A, and the domain of that partial function would be the elements or integers from 1 to integer n, and the last integer n will represent the length of that sequence. And if we want to construct sequence type, then a sequence type would contain all possible sequences which can be constructed from set A. Students, I want to ask a question that if a set A has three elements, for example, set A has element A, B, and C, then how many sequences or how many partial functions are possible from the elements of set A which contain only three elements? The answer of this question is that there are infinity many sequences are possible from three elements. For example, you have a sequence A, A, and another sequence A, and A. And similarly, you can make a sequence with four A's, or a sequence with four A's and element B, and so on. And there are so many sequences are possible from set A with three elements. So set of all possible partial functions from set A, and whose domain set is a set of natural numbers, is actually the set of all possible sequences. And it has been mentioned earlier that sequence is a special kind of function which contain set of non-negative integers in its domain. So sequence A basically represents all possible set of all possible sequences from set A, regardless of elements in set A. We have constructed sequence data type in the previous slide. So sequence A is basically a set of all possible sequences which can be constructed through set A. Now we can declare a sequence variable on sequence data type. Therefore, S is a sequence which is declared on sequence data type. So variable S is a sequence variable now, or you can say that S is a sequence. And sequence is a partial function. Therefore, we can also write sequence variable S declared on set of all possible partial functions. And if a sequence S has length n, then the domain of sequence S would be the natural numbers from 1 to n, where n represent the size or length of a sequence. For example, the sequence given in this slide contain four elements. So this has this sequence has size 4 or length 4, and the elements are listed in angle brackets, and this sequence can be represented as a function because the order of or position of element B is 1. Therefore, in a set representation would be order pair 1B, and in sequence the position of element A is 2. Therefore, there would be a order pair 2A. Similarly, the position or index of element C in sequence is 3. There would be an order pair 3C. And similarly, element B is appearing again with position 4, and there would be another order pair 4B. And we have already discussed that empty sequence is represented by angle brackets with no element in that. And if we want to represent set of all possible sequences without empty sequence, then we can subtract empty sequence from set of all possible sequences, and set of all possible sequences without empty sequence is represented by subscript 1. And it is worthful to mention here that the order of elements in angle brackets basically remain intact. Therefore, the sequence with three elements A, B, and A would be different from the sequence with the same elements but with different order. And this is another sequence with two elements. So all these three elements, these three sequences are different from each other. So sequence basically restore the order of elements, and it is different from the set representation. Students, we have already discussed that a single sequence is basically a partial function from set of natural numbers to the set A, and the elements of sets A are actually used to construct sequence, and the domain for a single sequence would be non-negative integers from 1 to n or positive integers from 1 to n, and n is basically the length of a sequence or size of a sequence. For example, we have a set files containing these elements which are listed in that set, and there are so many sequences are possible, and few sequences are listed below. The first sequence is one update, represents that the order or the index of the element update is 1, and this is the angle bracket representation for the same partial function, and there is another partial function represents the sequence of elements of set files, and the position of element text1 is 1, and the file update is 2, and the index of the old update file is 3, and the index of file credit1 is 4. And this is the similar representation with angle brackets. And there are another two sequences with its partial function representation, or you can say that order pair representation in a set, and this is equivalent angle bracket representation. So it is important to note that the first element of last order pair represent the length of that sequence. For example, the last order pair has value 4, therefore the length of this sequence is 4, and in this sequence the first element of last order pair is 6, therefore the length of this sequence is 6, and there will be 6 elements in angle brackets. So angle bracket representation is a compact representation, and we do not write its index but just write the position of each element in a sequence. Students, we have already discussed that sequences are partial functions. Therefore, all the operators which are applicable for partial functions or just functions are also applicable for sequences, and the partial function representation or order pair representation of sequences is basically in the form of a set. It means we can also write sequences in the form of sets. Therefore, all the operators which are used for sets can also be applied for sequences. So what we have discussed is that all the operators for functions and all the operators for sets are also applicable for sequences. And you know that the domain element of sequences are consecutive numbers starting from 1, and there is an example given as a sequence. So weekday is a sequence, represent the 5 elements because the first value of the last order pair is 5, therefore this sequence contains 5 elements in that. And we also know the function application because each sequence is a function. If we pass or put a value in that function, we can get returned a value for that function. For example, if we pass value 3 as an argument in this function weekday, then we get the return value Wednesday. Similarly, if you pass value 4 as an argument, then you will get the return value Thursday, and so on. There is another example for function application. Let us suppose element P, E and R belongs to set A, and from the elements of set A we can construct any kind of sequence. Now consider we declare a sequence S on the set of all possible sequences from set A, and this is the one possible value for variable S. And we have already discussed that element appearing first has its order first, and so on. And this is an equal representation in the form of order pairs in a set. So the index or position of element B is 1, element E is 2, and element E is appearing again. Therefore the position of second element of E is 3, and at the last the position of element R is 4. So we can apply the domain on that sequence, because sequence is a partial function or a set of order pairs. Therefore we can also get the domain for that sequence. So the domain of sequence S would be positive integers from 1 to 4. So these are consecutive integers starting from 1 and to the size of that sequence. And whenever we get the range of sequence S, we will get the set of elements appearing in sequence S. So there are three elements actually. The size of sequence is 4, but the elements are 3 in that sequence. Therefore the range of sequence S would be 3 elements, which include B, E and R. And the cardinality of sequence is 4, as we have discussed that the first value of the last order pair is 4. Therefore the cardinality of sequence is 4, and regardless of the last order pair you can count the values in sequence. So there are 4 values in sequence, therefore the cardinality of sequence is 4, or length of sequence is 4. And if you pass a value as an argument in sequence, you can get the return value. Students, it is important to note that for sequences you can just pass positive integers just to know the position or index of that element. If you want to know that which element is appearing at position number 3, you can pass value 3 as an argument to sequence S, and you will get return value E, basically representing that the third element in a sequence is E, or you can say that the position of element E is 3. Students, we have already discussed that sequences are functions, therefore operators for functions are used for sequences, but there are special kind of operators which are used for sequences, which include head, tail, last, front and reverse, and we discuss here one by one. The head operator for sequences basically return a first value of sequence. So you can say that whenever we pass index 1 in a sequence, we will get the head of the sequence, and the return type is a value, not a sequence. Similarly, tail operator basically returns us sequence without a head value. Actually, whenever we want to get the tail of a sequence, we discard head value and the rest of the sequence would be a tail. And the last operator for sequences basically return us the last value of the sequence. So in this example, you can see that r is a last value, so the last operator would return us a last value, which is r, and the return type would be a value of a set whose elements are used in a sequence. Front operator basically return us a sequence without a last value. If we discard a last value in a sequence, and rest of the sequence would be a front of that sequence. And the front of a sequence can be obtained by using that formula. We can use the domain subtraction operator. We subtract the last value from the sequence S, then rest of the sequence would be a front. And reverse operator basically reverse the order of elements in a sequence. As you can see in the example, that order or index of value B is 1 and index of value E is 2 and value E is 3 and index of value R is 4, and the size of the sequence is 4, and by applying the reverse operator, the last index would be a first index. Now the fourth index would be a first index, and third index would be a second index, and so on. We actually reverse the order of a sequence by applying the reverse operator. So these are basically special kind of operators which are only used for sequences, and these operators are not applicable for uh, functions, simple functions or sets. There is another special kind of operator for sequences which is known as concatenation operator. The concatenation operator is used to concatenate sequences. You can concatenate or join multiple sequences with each other, and you can get a single sequence by joining multiple sequences. For example, you have a sequence weekday containing 5 elements with the order given in a set, and you can get the head value for sequence weekday. You can apply head operator on sequence weekday, and you will get the first value of sequence, which is Monday. Students, you can also get this value by passing index 1 in that sequence. And now you can use concatenation operator to get a single sequence. So Sunday is a single value and you can apply the angle bracket on that to make a sequence, because you need to make a single value as a sequence by adding angle brackets on the both sides of element, and then you can apply the concatenation operator, and weekday is already a sequence, and you can concatenate this weekday with another sequence Saturday, and Saturday is a single value and you need to make it a sequence by applying the angle bracket in that. So there are basically three sequences, and by concatenating these three sequences you can get a single sequence with the name week. So concatenation operator is used to concatenate or join sequences, and uh, the concatenation operator is a similar kind of operator which is used to concatenate strings in programming languages. In order to understand the concept of concatenation operator, let us consider the example of sequence given in this slide, and by applying the head operator we will get the first value of sequence, which is value a, and then by applying the tail operator on the same sequence we will get another sequence without the head value, and a sequence S can be represented by concatenating a sequence containing head value and a sequence of tail value. So the concatenation operator actually joins the two sequences to get a single sequence. By applying the concatenation operator, the indices of the first sequence remain same, while the index of the first element of second sequence in the combined sequence can be calculated by adding the last index of first sequence to the first index of second sequence. Similarly, the second element of the second sequence would appear in the combined sequence with the index of n plus 2, and so on, and the index of the last element of second sequence can be calculated by adding the last index of first sequence to the last index of the second sequence. And empty sequence can be concatenated with any other sequence, and the sequence would remain same. Now consider another example of concatenation operator. The first sequence contained two elements and the second sequence contained four elements, and by concatenating first and second sequence we will get the 6 elements in total,
and you can see that the last index of first sequence is 2, and the first index of second sequence can be calculated by adding 2 in 1, so it would become 3, and second element of second sequence would appear as fourth element in combined sequence, and the last element in the combined sequence would be 6 new add, and the index of the last element is calculated by the last index of first sequence and the last index of second sequence. 2 plus 4 is equal to 6. So in this way we can calculate the indexes of elements in the combined sequence by applying the concatenation operator. Students, there is another special kind of operator for sequences which is known as filter operator, and filter operator is used to get the subsequences from a given sequence S. If all of this information is not required in a sequence, then we may restrict our attention to elements from a given set using the filter operator. Now consider a sequence which is given in this slide, and we want to restrict ourselves on the elements in set A, and want to get a subsequence of the elements of set A. Then by applying the filter operator on the sequence S, we will get the subsequence of the elements of set A. As you can see that set A contain two elements A and D, so a subsequence with the elements A and D would be returned by applying the filter operator, and order and multiplicity of elements would be preserved. Now consider an example of destination board at railway station, and the destination board basically depicts time of each train and starting station of the train and the destination station of the train. The destination board displays a list of trains arranged in order of departure. Model it as a sequence of pairs, each recording a time and destination. So in order to model this sequence of pairs of destination board, we can make a sequence with the name of trains, and the order pair represents the time of departure and the destination station, and each order pair basically a single element of a sequence, and in this sequence the trains are arranged in the order of departure. Now if we want to get the subsequence containing trains going to London, we can apply the filter operator on sequence trains. Then filter operator would return us a subsequence containing trains going to London.
Students, if we want to know that how many trains are going to London, then we can apply the cardinality operator to the subsequence for the trains to London. Then you can see that there are three trains which are going to London. And if you want to know that how many trains are there in the destination board, then by applying the cardinality operator on sequence trains, you can get the answer 6. So there are 6 trains on a destination board. The cardinality operator is basically the operator for sets, and sequences can be represented as a set of order pairs. Therefore, the cardinality operator is also applicable for sequences, and we have used the cardinality operator for this example. As you know, sequences are used to model the order of objects in a software design, and there is a sequence of programs or jobs in operating system, and the sequence of jobs or programs in the operating system can be modeled by using the concept of sequence in formal language set. And this example is about an operating system, and the statement of the example is as follows. A system specification for an operating system requires that the computer operator be able to remove the nth to mth entries in a queue of programs awaiting execution, define a function using lambda notation which, when applied to a sequence of programs, gives the set of nth to mth programs. Students, in this example, we want to get the set of programs in a queue with the index number n to index number m. So in order to get the set of programs to be executed in operating system, we can use the domain restriction operator, because sequence of programs can also be treated as a function or set of order pairs. So the solution of this example is given in this slide. So by applying the domain restriction operator on the set of order pairs in S to the elements from n to m, we will get those order pairs whose first element is n to m, and then by applying the range, we will get the programs with indexes n to m. And this predicate basically represent the property of indexes, that the start index must be greater than 0 and the end index must be less than or equal to the size of sequences. So the predicate specifies the condition under which the function is applied, since if n and m are out of the range or n is greater than m, then the function is undefined. Students, in this lecture we discussed about sequences which are used to model the order of objects in software design, and then we discussed about constructing sequence data type, that how can we construct set of all possible sequences in order to declare sequence variables. And we discussed that set of all possible sequences or sequence data type is basically set of all possible partial functions from the set of natural numbers to the set of objects. Then we discussed about declaring sequence variables in order to write predicates about softwares. And at the end of this lecture we discussed several special kind of operators which are only used for sequences, which include head operator, tail operator, last operator, front operator, reverse operator, filter operator, and concatenation operator. The contents of this lecture are taken from section number 4.3 of the book Software Development with Z, and section 4.3 is given in chapter number 4. Students, you must read section number 4.3 of the book. And that's all for today's lecture. Allah Hafiz.